Shattered Reflections. M.J. Emerson. Copyright 2024 Ryan Tensmeyer. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means. Electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of the copyright owner, except for brief quotations used in critical articles and reviews. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, and incidents are the product of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. While some places are inspired by real locations, they are portrayed in a fictional context. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, events, or locales is purely coincidental. Published by Ryan Tensmeyer, North Logan, Utah. Cover design by Ryan Tensmeyer. For permissions, contact Ryan Tensmeyer, 2596 North, 2150 East, North Logan, Utah, 84341, www.mjemerson.com. Printed in the United States of America. Dedication. To anyone who has suffered loss or has carried the weight of silent pain, may you find the strength to endure, the courage to heal, and the hope that light can be found, even in the darkest moments. This is for you. You are not alone. And to my wife, Carrie Ann, whose compassion brings healing, whose kindness offers comfort, and whose heart is always open to those facing hard times. You inspire this book and everyone you meet. Prologue. A journey of healing. Following the well-meaning advice of others, I've taken to untangling my thoughts on paper, hoping that writing them down will somehow make them lighter, easier to bear. So here I am, spilling fragments of myself onto the ink-stained pages of my journal, or in the hidden corners of an almost invisible social media account, hoping for some kind of relief and raw honesty with myself. They say to take life one day at a time. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? One day. Just get through today. But the truth is, some days feel impossibly long. There are mere moments when I can barely breathe, the weight of my grief pressing against my chest until it feels like even my lungs are too tired to carry on. Each breath feels deliberate, a fragile tether to a world I barely recognize anymore. Healing is a journey, or so I'm told. But right now, the road feels endless and uncertain. I try to tell myself that things will get better, that this isn't forever. But how do you complete a journey with no clear destination? Am I on the right path? Am I moving at all? I want to believe that life moves forward, yet most days I feel stuck in place, caught in a fog that blurs everything ahead. The trials of the past few months have left me feeling fractured, as though pieces of my soul have been stripped away. The ache is constant, a dull throb that sharpens without warning, catching me off guard. I try to whisper to myself that this pain won't last forever, but most days I'm not sure I believe it. I've been told that grief changes you, that it reveals strength you didn't know you had. I don't feel strong. Some days, just getting out of bed feels like a small miracle. But there are moments, fleeting, fragile moments, where a kind word or a small act of beauty breaks through the darkness. The hug of a friend, the sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight. It doesn't erase the pain, but it softens it, just for a moment. I've always loved nature, but now it feels different, heavier. The ocean waves still roll, the leaves still dance in the wind, and the flowers still bloom. All reminders that life moves on, even when I feel like I can't. I walk through parks, sit by the water, and try to let the rhythm of the world steady me. But it's hard to feel settled in a world that feels so deeply unsettling. Faith used to bring me peace, but now even my prayers feel heavy, falling flat and seeming to rise no higher than the ceiling of my bedroom. Where is the divine in all of this? I want to believe that there's meaning in my pain, that there's a purpose I can't yet see. Sometimes I catch glimpses of it, a quiet strength, a flicker of hope. But it vanishes almost as quickly as it comes, like a mirage in an endless desert. No oasis, no relief, just an aching, weary soul trudging through the dry, fractured sand. The cracks in me are still raw, still sharp. I carry them with me, and maybe one day I'll learn to see them differently, as part of who I am, not just reminders of what I've lost. Hope is there, but feels so distant, like a faint light barely visible at the edge of the horizon. I don't know if I'll ever reach it, but for now, I take one small step forward, telling myself that maybe, just maybe, hope will bring me back. Chapter 1. New Beginnings. Reflecting on those first days in Bluffton, I see how hope and uncertainty intertwined as I stepped into my new life. The house felt like a blank canvas, a sanctuary where the healing process could quietly begin. Moving here was the first step toward peace, with each moment a small victory on my path to recovery. Amanda drove through the winding streets of Bluffton, South Carolina. The gentle hum of the engine mingled with her thoughts, while sunlight filtered through the trees, painting the road ahead with dappled shadows. In the back seat, Logan sat strapped into his car seat, his eyes wide with excitement. "Mommy, are we almost there?" Logan asked, his voice brimming with the innocent curiosity of a 3-year-old. Amanda glanced at him in the rearview mirror, catching his eager eyes. "Almost there, buddy. How many houses can you count till we get there?" Logan giggled and started counting, his excitement infectious. As they rounded the final bend, her heart skipped a beat at the sight of their new neighborhood. The towns at Buckwalter stood nestled among towering trees, its rows of townhomes painted in cheerful pastel hues. Flowering bushes lined the sidewalks, adding a burst of color to the beautiful surroundings. Turning into the driveway of their new home, Amanda's hands trembled with anticipation as she parked the car. The townhouse, with its light gray siding and red brick accents, welcomed them warmly. Sunlight streamed through the large arched window, bathing the space in a radiant glow. With a deep breath, she turned to face Logan, his eyes wide with wonder. "We're here, Logan!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. Logan's face lit up with a radiant smile as he unbuckled his seatbelt, his small hands reaching for the door handle. "Yay! Our new home!" he cheered. Together, mother and son stepped out of the car and made their way to the front door. Amanda fumbled with the keys for a moment before finally unlocking the door and swinging it open. Warm, sunlit air welcomed them as they stepped inside. The scent of fresh paint mixed with the earthy aroma of the potted plants by the window. The golden light made the wooden floors gleam like honey. To Amanda, it felt like a sanctuary. At 28 years old, Amanda was a true picture of grace and resilience. Her long, thick black hair framed her face, and her striking blue eyes reflected a blend of determination and hope. She had always possessed a strong will, a trait that had carried her through the most challenging times. Recent events had nearly broken her, but now, standing in this new space with Logan by her side, everything felt just right. "Wow, Mommy, it's so pretty!" Logan exclaimed, his bright blue eyes wide as he took in the sight of their new home. His dark hair and joyful smile made him the spitting image of his mother. Their matching blue eyes was another striking feature they shared. She laughed, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders at her son's enthusiasm. "I'm glad you like it, buddy. This is going to be our new home." They spent the next hour exploring every corner of the townhouse and settling in. A moving crew had brought the majority of their possessions the day before, leaving boxes neatly stacked in each room. Amanda began unpacking a few of them, adding personal touches to make the space feel more like home. Logan's laughter filled the air as he raced from room to room, his excitement infectious. Amanda watched as Logan's eyes widened with excitement as they entered his new room. The walls were a soft blue, decorated with colorful decals of airplanes and dinosaurs. A cozy bed with dinosaur-themed bedding sat against one wall, while a small desk and chair occupied another corner, ready for Logan's artistic endeavors. "Wow, Mommy, it's so cool," Logan said, bouncing on the balls of his feet. "Can I play with my toys now?" "Of course, sweetie," she replied with a smile. "Let's start by unpacking your toys and books." Together, they unpacked boxes filled with Logan's favorite toys and books, arranging them neatly on shelves and in bins. Logan's face lit up with delight as he rediscovered old favorites and explored new additions to his collection. Amanda, a natural at teaching life skills, guided him in keeping his space tidy without it feeling like a lesson. "Let's put your toys here so we can always find them when we want to play," she said, placing a toy on a shelf. Logan nodded, his eyes bright with understanding. "Okay, Mommy, I'll try my best." She smiled, ruffling his hair affectionately. "Great! Now, let's find a special spot for your B-books." With each item they placed, the room began to feel more like Logan's own, a space where order and joy coexisted. Once his things were sorted, Amanda reached for a familiar book from the shelf, a colorful picture book about dinosaurs. It had been his favorite bedtime story for as long as she could remember. "Look what I found, Logan," Amanda said, holding up the book with a grin. "It's your favorite dinosaur book. Do you want to read it together?" Logan's eyes lit up with excitement as he eagerly nodded his head. "Yes, please, Mommy. I love that book." They settled onto the soft rug in the center of Logan's room, surrounded by stuffed animals and dinosaur figurines. She opened the book and began to read aloud, her voice filled with warmth and enthusiasm as she brought the story to life. As they turned each page, Logan's imagination soared, his eyes sparkling with wonder at the colorful illustrations and fascinating facts about dinosaurs. Amanda encouraged him to ask questions and share his thoughts about the prehistoric creatures. After they finished reading, Logan snuggled up against her, his head resting on her shoulder. "Thank you, Mommy," he said with a yawn. "That was the best story ever." "You're welcome, sweetheart," Amanda replied, pressing a kiss to the top of his head. "I'm glad you enjoyed it." Together, they walked to the back of the house, where a large window overlooked the lush greenery of their backyard. Just beyond, a vast pond sparkled in the sunlight, its surface rippling gently in the breeze. In the center of the pond, a majestic fountain sprayed water high into the air, creating a mesmerizing display that soared above the treetops. The pond lay just a short stroll from the back of their house, its tranquil presence adding to the beauty of their surroundings. As Amanda gazed out at the glistening pond, a sense of peace washed over her, mingling with the sound of the fountain's gentle splashing. For the first time in months, her mind felt still, free from the incessant worries that had plagued her. "Mommy, can we go see the pond?" Logan asked, his eyes alight with curiosity as he pointed toward the shimmering water. Amanda smiled, delighted by her son's sense of wonder. "Of course, sweetheart. Let's take a look." Hand in hand, they stepped outside into the warm embrace of the afternoon sun. The scent of fresh grass and blooming flowers greeted them, the cool blades damp beneath their feet. The gentle breeze carried the earthy aroma of the pond water, mingling with the sweet fragrance of nearby honeysuckle. As they reached the edge of the pond, the surface of the water sparkled in the sunlight, creating a dazzling display of light. Logan peered into the clear water, his eyes widening with amazement as he watched fish darting to and fro beneath the surface, their scales glinting like tiny jewels. The gentle murmur of the fountain added a soothing soundtrack to the picturesque scene, complemented by the distant chirping of birds. "It's so big, Mommy!" Logan exclaimed, his voice filled with awe. "It is," Amanda agreed, her heart rippling with love for her son. "And do you see that fountain in the middle? Isn't it beautiful?" Logan nodded enthusiastically, his gaze fixed on the dancing spray of water. "Can we come back and see it again?" "Of course, sweetheart," Amanda replied, ruffling his hair affectionately. "We can come back anytime you like." As they continued to explore the area around the pond, Logan's attention was soon drawn to another enticing sight. A fenced community pool complete with a large gazebo and lounging chairs scattered around the perimeter. "Mommy, can we go swimming?" Logan asked, his eyes shining with excitement as he pointed toward the pool. Amanda glanced at the pool and then back at Logan, a smile playing at the corners of her lips. "Not today, sweetheart. It's a little too cold for swimming. But we can definitely plan a trip to the pool once it warms up a bit." Logan's disappointment was fleeting, quickly replaced by a sense of anticipation for the future. "Okay, Mommy, I can't wait." With renewed enthusiasm, they continued their exploration, their hearts full of excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. Logan squealed with delight as he chased after a butterfly, his laughter echoing in the quiet neighborhood, while Amanda watched him with a mixture of joy and relief, grateful for this moment of simple happiness after months of uncertainty and upheaval. As they played, Amanda couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. Leaving Encinitas with its sun-soaked beaches and bittersweet memories had been one of her hardest decisions. The painful reminders of the past, combined with financial challenges, made it impossible to stay. The small beach town held many memories, both beautiful and painful. But staying there had become untenable, especially for a single mother trying to make ends meet. Bluffton, with its affordability and community atmosphere, had seemed like the perfect place to start over. She had been drawn to Bluffton for many reasons. The small-town feel was a stark contrast to the bustling city life she had grown accustomed to, and she hoped it would provide a safer, more nurturing environment for Logan. The town was known for its parks and recreational areas, offering plenty of opportunities for outdoor activities that he would love. The community had a reputation of being tight-knit and family-friendly, with neighbors who looked out for one another, something Amanda desperately needed as she navigated this new chapter in her life. "Mommy, look what I found!" Logan's voice broke through her reverie, pulling her back to the present. He held out a small flower, its petals a brilliant shade of blue against the backdrop of green grass. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Amanda said, kneeling down to admire the flower. She reached out to gently brush her fingers against its delicate petals, marveling at the simple wonder of nature. In that moment, Amanda felt a sense of hope settle over her like a warm blanket. She knew that their journey was far from over, but for now, in this quiet backyard, with Logan by her side, Everything felt just right. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the yard, she took Logan's hand and led him back inside. Together, they prepared dinner in their new kitchen, the comforting smells of home filling the air. After dinner, Amanda began unpacking one of the boxes she had brought in. She carefully unwrapped a framed photo of her and Logan at a park, their smiles bright and carefree. She found the perfect spot for the picture on a shelf in the living room where it served as a symbol of their new beginning. As they sat down to eat, she couldn't help but offer a silent prayer of thanks for this new chapter in their lives. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she felt hopeful. After dinner, Amanda guided Logan through their familiar bedtime routine. He giggled as she helped him brush his teeth, the bathroom light casting a warm glow that made his tired eyes sparkle. They read his favorite story together, his small voice chiming in at all the best parts. When she tucked him into bed, he reached out with a sleepy smile and whispered, "Good night, Mommy." She kissed his forehead and smoothed back his hair, watching as his eyes closed and his breathing grew even. After Logan drifted off to sleep, Amanda stood at the window, gazing out at the stars twinkling in the sky. As she gazed out at the stars, she felt a quiet strength settle within her, as though the universe whispered, "You're on the right path." For the first time in months, she believed it. In that moment, she vowed to herself, no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage and determination. As long as she had her son by her side and the promise of a new day, they would always find their way home. With that comforting thought, she turned from the window, prepared for bed, and slipped under her covers, ready to embrace whatever the future held. Morning sunlight streamed through the large arched window, gently waking Amanda from her slumber. She stretched, feeling a sense of renewal she hadn't experienced in a long time. This new place, this fresh start, was already working its magic on her spirit. She got up quietly, careful not to wake Logan in the next room, and made her way to the kitchen. As she brewed a pot of coffee, its rich aroma filled the air, mingling with the morning breeze wafting through the open window. Amanda took a moment to savor the quiet, sipping her coffee as she gazed out at the backyard. Her eyes lingered on the pond, its still surface catching the morning sunlight. In the center, the fountain sprayed water into the air, adding a soothing melody to the scene. It was a perfect Sunday morning. The previous day's memories flooded back to her, the excitement in Logan's eyes, the sound of his laughter echoing through the house. It was a reminder of why she had made the leap to come here, leaving behind the familiarity of Encinitas for the promise of a better life. Logan soon awoke, rubbing his eyes sleepily as he wandered into the kitchen. "Good morning, Mommy," he said with a yawn, his blue eyes still bright with the traces of sleep. Amanda's heart brimmed with love at the sight of her son, his morning greeting filling her with warmth. "I love you," Logan added, wrapping his arms around her waist in a sleepy hug. "Good morning, sweetheart," Amanda replied, setting her coffee cup down and lifting him into her arms. "I love you too. Did you sleep well?" He nodded, resting his head on her shoulder. "Yeah, I like our new house." She felt a surge of happiness at his words. "I'm glad you do. We're going to create so many wonderful memories here." They spent the morning unpacking more boxes, turning the house into a home bit by bit. Amanda hung up curtains, arranged books on the shelves, and placed family photos around the living room. Each item found its place, adding to the warmth and personality of their new space. Later, they decided to explore the neighborhood. Hand in hand, they strolled down the quiet streets, exchanging greetings with neighbors tending their gardens or walking their dogs. The warmth of the community was unmistakable, evident in the friendly smiles and kind words they received at every turn. Logan's eyes lit up as he noticed the towering trees that encircled the neighborhood, their leafy canopy hinting at countless adventures waiting to be discovered. "Mommy, this place is so cool!" Logan exclaimed, his excitement evident in his voice. Amanda smiled warmly at him, her heart swelling with joy at his enthusiasm, reaffirming that moving here had been the right choice. As evening approached, they prepared for their first movie night in their new home. They popped popcorn, gathered blankets and pillows, and settled onto the couch in the living room. Amanda picked a family-friendly movie she knew Logan would love, a heartwarming story about friendship and adventure. As the movie played, she couldn't help but steal glances at Logan, his eyes wide with wonder as he watched the story unfold. She cherished these quiet moments together, knowing that they were building memories that would last a lifetime. As the credits rolled and the lights dimmed, Logan looked up at Amanda with a sleepy smile. "Thanks for the movie, Mommy," he said, his voice filled with contentment. "You're welcome, sweetheart," Amanda replied, brushing a stray hair from his forehead. "I love spending time with you." With a contented sigh, Logan snuggled closer to her, his eyelids growing heavy with sleep. She wrapped her arms around him, a wave of warmth and belonging washing over her. In that moment, cocooned in the comfort of their new home and the love they shared, she knew they were exactly where they were meant to be. As they drifted off to sleep on the couch, the soft chirping of crickets filling the quiet night, Amanda offered a silent thank you to the universe for bringing them here and blessing them with this precious moment of peace and happiness. Chapter 2. Shared Paths. Have you ever met someone whose presence felt instantly familiar, as if time itself had woven your paths together? It's as though invisible threads have woven your souls together, binding you in a tapestry of shared experiences and unspoken understanding. The faint glow of morning light crept through the curtains, gently pulling Amanda from her dreams. She turned to see Logan peacefully asleep beside her, his soft, dark hair framing his angelic face as his rhythmic breathing filled the room with calm. Her heart swelled as she admired his rosy cheeks and youthful, flawless skin, so perfect it put her own to shame. Her chest filled with warmth as she watched him. Leaning over, she placed a gentle kiss on his forehead. "Good morning, sweetheart," she whispered softly. Logan stirred, his eyes fluttering open as he smiled at her. "Good morning, Mommy. Ready for another adventure?" she asked, brushing a strand of hair from his face. "Yes," Logan said, full of excitement. "Okay," Amanda said. "I have a few ideas. We could go on a hike, visit the playground at the park, or—" "Go to the playground," Logan interrupted, excitedly. "You bet," Amanda said with a laugh. "We'd better get some breakfast, and then we can get ready to go." "Can we have breakfast in our pajamas?" Logan asked excitedly. "Of course," Amanda replied, smiling. "Let's make some pancakes." They got up and went into the kitchen. Logan eagerly mixed the batter, though it splashed around the bowl while she heated the griddle. "Let me give you a hand," Amanda said as she came over to hold the whisk with him, and they finished stirring the batter together. She helped him pour the batter on the griddle. "Mommy, can I put chocolate chips in mine?" Logan asked, his eyes wide with excitement. "You sure can," Amanda replied, handing him the bag of chocolate chips. "Just a few, though." Logan carefully sprinkled the chocolate chips into the batter, his tongue sticking out in concentration. Amanda couldn't help but smile at his determination. It wasn't long before the smell of pancakes filled the air as they chatted and laughed, savoring their special morning together. After breakfast, they went to get dressed for their day out. Logan chose a blue long-sleeved polo shirt with a light blue collar and a small emblem on the left side of the chest. He paired it with light beige pants that were cuffed at the ankles and blue sneakers with white soles and laces. Amanda dressed in a light blue, short-sleeved V-neck t-shirt and blue jeans with a slightly worn-in look. Her long, dark hair fell in loose waves. "Ready to go to the park?" Amanda asked, tying her sneakers. "Yes, Mommy!" Logan shouted, bouncing with excitement. They left the house, got into the car, and drove to Oscar Fraser Park. As they drove, they talked about their plans for the day, the music playing softly in the background. "Do you think there will be other kids at the park?" Logan asked, looking out the window. "Maybe," Amanda replied, "but we'll have fun no matter what, right?" "Right," Logan agreed, smiling. The drive was short, and soon they arrived at the park. Oscar Fraser Park was a beautiful sight on a perfect spring day. Trees adorned with blossoms lined the pathways, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of flowers. Logan's eyes lit up as he saw the playground, its equipment designed to look like a train. "Look, Mommy, a train!" Logan pointed excitedly. In Logan's mind, it must have looked like something straight out of a storybook. It had a giant blue smokestack that seemed to touch the sky, and right at the front was a big, round tunnel perfect for crawling through, like a secret passageway into an adventure. There were wooden steps leading up to the tunnel, each one creaking slightly, adding to the thrill of the climb. The train was painted in bright, happy colors. It wasn't just a train, it was a whole world of fun. The train extended into playhouses, twisting slides, and an orange climbing wall that beckoned young adventurers. The ground was covered in soft green artificial turf that felt springy underfoot, perfect for running, jumping, and all sorts of playful escapades. From a child's perspective, it was the ultimate playground, filled with endless possibilities and adventures waiting to be had. Logan's joy was infectious as he darted from one part of the train to another, Amanda close behind. She showed him the different parts of the playground, pointing out the slides, the climbing wall, and the tunnels. "Mommy, look, I'm driving the train," Logan shouted when he got up to the top. "You make a great train conductor, Logan," Amanda said, clapping her hands. He laughed and slid down one of the blue slides. His joyful squeals echoed through the playground. She watched, her heart swelling with warmth as she soaked in the sight of her son's unfiltered happiness. The way his hair flew back and his eyes sparkled with delight made her smile. She found a nearby bench and sat down, keeping a vigilant eye on Logan as he dashed from one play structure to another. The sun bathed the park in gold, the air fragrant with blossoms and fresh grass. Just as Amanda began to settle in, she noticed a yellow school bus pulling up near the playground. The doors opened with a soft hiss, and a group of school children slightly older than Logan tumbled out, their excited chatter filling the air. They quickly dispersed across the playground, their boundless energy creating a lively atmosphere. Her eyes followed them closely, her motherly instincts on high alert, ensuring Logan didn't get overwhelmed or accidentally knocked over in the flurry of activity from the bigger kids. Despite the influx of children, Logan seemed unfazed, his focus entirely on the adventures that awaited him. As Amanda watched Logan play, she noticed another woman arriving at the playground, holding the hand of a small girl. The woman had long, straight brown hair that fell gracefully around her shoulders, catching the light in a way that made it shine. Her brown eyes were warm and friendly, and she wore a light purple, short-sleeved V-neck shirt and black leggings, looking both comfortable and stylish. Beside her was a petite little girl with striking blonde ringlet curls that bounced as she skipped along. The girl was dressed in a simple white t-shirt and jeans, her tiny feet encased in pink sneakers that sparkled slightly as she walked. The mother and daughter strolled toward the playground, and the woman's face lit up with a friendly smile as she approached Amanda. Amanda smiled back, appreciating the friendly gesture, as the woman guided her daughter toward the play area. The girl ran off to join the fun. The woman approached Amanda with another warm smile. "Mind if I join you?" "Not at all," Amanda replied, smiling back. She shifted slightly on the bench to make room. They each sat for just a moment in silence, keeping an eye on their children. "It's such a nice day," said the woman. "It really is," Amanda replied. "We moved here just a few days ago and have already fallen in love with the area. I had a feeling you might be new around here," she said. "I don't remember seeing you before, so you've only been here for a few days?" "Yes," Amanda said. "I just moved here from California. I'm here with my son, Logan." She pointed towards the playground, though it was hard to pick Logan out among so many children. "Oh, and I'm Amanda, by the way." "Well, welcome to the area, Amanda. I'm Carrie, and that was my little girl, Emma, who just ran over to the playground. She's 3 years old and full of energy. I have another daughter, Bree, who's 5 and at school today. I think you'll love it here. This park is one of our favorite places to come. It's usually not this busy in the mornings, but it looks like the school is having a field day here today," Carrie explained. "Logan is 3 too," Amanda said with a warm smile. She glanced around the park, taking in the whimsical details. "It's easy to see why you'd like this place. It's so beautiful, and it really helps the kids bring their imaginations to life." "It really does," Carrie agreed, glancing around as if seeing the park through Amanda's eyes. After a moment, she turned back to Amanda. "Where in California did you move from?" Carrie asked, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear as her curious eyes lingered on Amanda. "A little north of San Diego in Encinitas," Amanda replied. "Quite a journey from the West Coast to the East Coast," Carrie mused, her interest piqued as she leaned in. "What inspired your move from there to Bluffton?" Amanda nodded, a smile playing on her lips as she reflected on her journey. "After graduating, I landed a job with GoPro, but the commute was starting to wear me down, and I was looking for a fresh start. When I got promoted to project manager and the option to work remotely opened up, it felt like the perfect opportunity for a change. After doing my research, it felt like Bluffton would be the perfect place for Logan and me. Bluffton really is a great place for families." "And a project manager for GoPro?" Carrie asked. "That sounds like a competitive position. What did you study in school?" Amanda smiled, appreciating that Carrie somehow seemed to know of the sacrifices she'd made to get where she was. "Yes, it really has been a long, hard road," Amanda replied, her eyes reflecting a mix of pride and determination. "I started with a bachelor's degree in graphic art, because art has always been my passion. But I also pursued an MBA to expand my career options. It turned out to be a great decision, as my current role involves collaborating with our creative team to launch new camera models. It's challenging but incredibly rewarding to blend my love for art with business strategy." Carrie nodded, and her eyes widened as her curiosity piqued. "That sounds like very hard and satisfying work. What's it been like for you two adjusting to life here in Bluffton?" Amanda's eyes softened with warmth. "It's been a bit of an adventure, to be honest. Logan's been a trooper through it all. Moving to a new place can be daunting, but I'm hopeful about the fresh start it offers." Carrie smiled, a sense of camaraderie evident in her gaze. I can relate, she said, a hint of nostalgia in her voice. How about you? Amanda asked. How did you end up here? We made the move from Gilbert, Arizona, about 6 months back. Ryan, my husband, also works remotely, but as a software engineer. We realized that with the flexibility of his remote work and the convenience of my nursing job, we had the freedom to choose our location. We were drawn to the family-friendly atmosphere here and the closeness to the ocean. With my work, I usually just pick up 1 or 2 shifts a week, which allows me to spend quality time with my girls. Amanda nodded in understanding, a bond forming between them as they shared their stories. It's comforting to know there are others who've made similar leaps of faith, Amanda said, a note of gratitude in her voice. Here's to new beginnings. Yes, to new beginnings, Carrie added with a warm smile. Then she hesitated for a moment before proceeding to ask the question that had been on her mind. So is it just you and Logan? Or are you married? I was, Amanda said quietly. Her chest tightened at the memory, but she steadied herself. My husband passed away recently, so it's just the 2 of us now. Carrie reached out and touched her arm. Amanda, I'm so sorry. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Thank you, Amanda said sincerely. You can't imagine how much that means. This place is wonderful, but it's hard not to feel alone. I do have a daycare lined up for Logan at Bluffton Early Learning Center, so we're set in that regard. I also have an aunt in the area that is willing to help take Logan if I need some alone time. But I'll definitely let you know if anything comes up. Well, you better, Carrie said with a friendly smile. Let me get your phone number so we can stay in touch if you don't mind. That would be great, of course, Amanda replied. They both got their phones out and exchanged phone numbers. Since you're new to Bluffton, there are a few things you'll definitely want to try, Carrie said with a warm smile. I'll put them in a text and send it over to you. She opened up a new text message and started typing while continuing the conversation. As I like to say, life's too short not to explore every corner of Bluffton, she said with a laugh. That would be fantastic, Amanda replied, grateful for the offer. We love visiting the local parks, Carrie said as she typed. Oscar Fraser Park here is one of our favorites, and Dubois Park is another great option. I usually come here on Monday and Wednesday mornings, and we visit Dubois occasionally to fill in gaps in our schedule or just to mix things up. This park really does have a great feel, Amanda said with a warm smile, glancing around. If Dubois Park is anything like this one, we'll definitely look forward to checking it out. Carrie looked up briefly, smiling. They truly are great spots for the kids to play and socialize with other children. Amanda nodded. That will be perfect for Logan. He's always excited to meet new kids. Carrie paused her typing and looked up with a smile. He's going to love it here in Bluffton. She resumed typing, her fingers tapping lightly on the keyboard. It's such a friendly community. Oh, and if it's a warm day, you've got to check out the Buckwalter Place splash pad. It's perfect for some refreshing water play. Amanda's face brightened. Logan is a big fan of anything involving water. Carrie chuckled. Same with my girls. It's a lifesaver on hot days. Amanda laughed. I can imagine. For nature walks, the New River Linear Trail or Buckwalter Greenway Trail are great options, Carrie continued. They're easy paths, perfect for families. Amanda looked thoughtful. Those sound ideal for us. We both enjoy being outdoors. You'll love them, Carrie said encouragingly. They're scenic and peaceful. She typed a bit more, then added, and Old Town Bluffton is charming to explore. There are art galleries, boutiques, and the Hayward House Historic Center offers guided tours about Bluffton's history. Amanda's eyes sparkled with interest. Oh yes, I read about that online. I can't wait to check out the galleries. They have some beautiful artwork, so that will be right up your alley, Carrie agreed, looking up briefly. And the Hayward House offers a nice glimpse into the town's past. Amanda smiled. I'm really looking forward to exploring more. I think you would also really enjoy the Bluffton Farmers Market on Thursdays, Carrie suggested. It's a great place to sample local produce and baked goods. Amanda's face lit up. I love farmers markets. It'll be fun to find some local treats. Carrie beamed. The atmosphere is wonderful, and there's always something new to try. She typed a bit more, then added, if you were looking for something really special, taking a boat tour is a must. There are dolphin watching tours and eco tours to learn about the area's wildlife and ecosystems. Amanda's excitement was evident. Logan would be thrilled to see dolphins. He'll love IIT, Carrie said, her enthusiasm clear. The tours are really informative and a lot of fun. She continued, for dining, there are plenty of family-friendly restaurants. Many have outdoor seating and kid-friendly menus. You should try some classic Southern dishes like shrimp and grits or a low-country boil. I haven't heard of a low-country boil before, Amanda admitted. What is it? Oh, it's a fantastic Southern tradition, Carrie explained with enthusiasm. A low-country boil is this amazing one-pot meal. It's a mix of shrimp or crab, smoked sausage, corn on the cob, and potatoes, all boiled together with Old Bay seasoning or something similar. Amanda's mouth watered at the thought. That sounds delicious. I've been wanting to try some authentic Southern food. It really is. We usually cook it outdoors in a big pot. Once everything's done, we drain it and spread it out on a newspaper-covered table. Then everyone just digs in. It's simple, flavorful, and a lot of fun to share with friends and family. I can see why it would be perfect for a get-together. Amanda nodded, smiling. I'd love to try it. We'll definitely have to invite you over for one. It's a real taste of the South, Carrie said warmly. I'd really enjoy that, Amanda replied. Thank you, Carrie. You won't be disappointed, Carrie assured her. The flavors are amazing. I'll coordinate with you so we can make sure you can come next time we do it. Amanda couldn't help but shift in her seat excitedly at the thought. It was just their third day here, and she was thrilled to have already begun establishing a friendship. Carrie continued typing and added, Okay, now if you're up for some wildlife watching, the Pinckney Island National Wildlife Refuge is perfect for birdwatching and observing various animals. You might even spot an alligator. Amanda chuckled. That sounds like a wonderful experience. I can only imagine how excited that would make Logan. She smiled at the thought. Our girls loved it, Carrie said with a grin. They get so excited when they spot something. Okay, what else? Carrie thought as she tapped on her chin. Oh, for some hands-on arts and crafts. There are local studios where you can do pottery painting or canvas painting with kids. It's a fun way to get creative. Amanda's eyes twinkled. Logan loves painting. We'll definitely give that a try. Carrie nodded with a smile. It seems like our girl's favorite way to spend a rainy afternoon. Carrie continued typing and added, I'm guessing you came to Bluffton with plans to hit the beach. For beach outings, we usually make our way to nearby Hilton Head Island. If you go there, Colini Beach Park is quite popular and offers amenities such as restrooms, showers, and playgrounds. Amanda's expression softened with gratitude. Thank you for all these suggestions. It's wonderful to get advice from someone who knows the area so well, Amanda teased lightly, aware that Carrie had only recently arrived herself. I'm looking forward to exploring all these places with Logan. Carrie's smile remained warm and genuine. You're welcome. I'm sure you two will have a blast. Even though we haven't been here for long, we like to make the most of our time together. Bluffton has so much to offer. With a satisfied nod, she sent the text and tucked her phone away. Amanda's phone chimed with the incoming text, and she smiled at the sight of the text from Carrie. You know, I hope you don't mind me saying, but sometimes you meet someone and it feels like you've known them forever, Carrie said with a wonderful, friendly smile. I was thinking the same thing, Amanda agreed with a little twinkle in her eye as she reached out and touched Carrie's hand. Would you mind if we took a picture together? I have a private social media account where I have been documenting this new journey. Sure, Carrie said. Should we have the kids join us? Oh, maybe just the two of us. I'm perhaps a little overcautious about putting pictures of Logan on social media, Amanda explained. Oh, I understand completely. It's important to be cautious, Carrie replied with a nod, respecting Amanda's concern. Amanda approached a nearby teacher that was with the students from the bus. Would you mind taking a quick photo of us? Amanda asked, holding out her phone. Sure thing, the teacher replied. Amanda and Carrie sat together on the bench, smiling as they posed for the camera. Okay, say cheese, said the woman. Cheese, Amanda and Carrie smiled together as she took the picture. How's this? Does it look okay? The woman asked as she handed back the phone. Amanda glanced at the photo, grinned, and nodded. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you so much. After the teacher handed back the phone, Amanda quickly shared the picture with Carrie in a text message. There, I just sent it to you, Amanda said with a smile. Carrie's phone chimed with the incoming text, and she put her hand on her chest as she smiled at the sight of the picture. Oh, I love that. Carrie and Amanda clasped each other's hands, exchanging warm smiles. At that moment, Carrie's daughter approached, her eyes brimming with tears as she clutched her knee. Mommy, she exclaimed, her voice trembling with distress. Oh no, what happened, sweetheart? Carrie's voice was filled with concern as she knelt down beside her daughter. I got knocked over by a big kid, she said tearfully. Carrie wrapped her arms around her daughter, offering comfort and reassurance. Oh no, Bug, let me take a look at that knee, she said affectionately. Meanwhile, Amanda quickly rummaged through her purse and found a bandage. Here, let me help, Amanda said gently, offering the bandage to Carrie. Thank you so much. Carrie replied, her gratitude evident in her voice as she accepted the bandage and carefully applied it to her daughter's knee. After a few moments of soothing and comforting her daughter, Carrie realized that she was still upset, despite her efforts to console her. "I think more than anything, this little one might be a little tired," Carrie remarked, a hint of concern in her voice as she gently stroked her daughter's hair. "Maybe you'll feel better after a little NP in the car," Carrie suggested, enunciating each letter in a futile attempt to keep her daughter from catching on. "I don't want to take a nap," Carrie's daughter protested, her lower lip quivering. "I guess spelling it in front of her doesn't work anymore," Carrie said with a wry smile, exchanging a knowing glance with Amanda. Amanda chuckled softly, nodding in agreement. "It seems like they catch on faster than we expect sometimes." With a resigned sigh, Carrie gathered her things, knowing it was time to head home and run her errands. "Well, I suppose it's time for us to say goodbye," Carrie said, turning to Amanda. "Hopefully she'll settle down once we get going." She came over and gave Amanda a tight hug. Amanda returned the embrace warmly. "Carrie, thank you for your kindness today. It was great to meet you, and I hope the rest of your day goes smoothly." "It was a pleasure meeting you too, Amanda. We'll be in touch," Carrie said, releasing the hug. With a final wave, Carrie and her daughter made their way out of the park, leaving Amanda and Logan to continue their day in the sunshine. Amanda watched them walk away, a sense of warmth and gratitude flooding her heart for the kindness of strangers, and in this instance, for the blossoming friendship with Carrie. "And you were worried that you would never make any friends here?" Amanda mused to herself with a smile as she swung her arms and turned back toward the playground. She found Logan and suggested a walk around the park's walking path. "Hey, buddy, are you ready to go on a walk? You can pretend you're a race car," she said. His eyes sparkled with excitement, and he took off running toward the walking path. Amanda followed closely behind, relishing in his joy and the serene beauty of the park enveloping them. The soft rustling of leaves and gentle birdsong provided a soothing backdrop to their stroll, punctuated by Logan's occasional bursts of laughter and excited chatter. "Look at the bird in the tree!" Logan exclaimed, pointing with excitement. "I think it's playing hide and seek." Amanda paused, smiling at his boundless curiosity. As they continued walking, sunlight filtered through the lush green canopy of trees, casting dappled patterns on the path. Logan dashed ahead, arms outstretched like a race car. "Vroom!" His laughter rang out, echoing along the trail. Amanda followed, her heart light, savoring the serene beauty of the park and the unfiltered joy of her son. Each time Logan returned, he shared his joy with Amanda, his exuberance evident in his animated expressions. She responded with smiles and encouraging words, delighting in the boundless enthusiasm of her son. Then, with a mischievous grin, he would race ahead once more, his tiny figure disappearing into the distance as he eagerly explored the winding path ahead. As Logan's energy began to wane, they found a cozy spot on the grass under the shade of a sprawling oak tree for a picnic. Amanda reached into her bag, retrieving carefully prepared sandwiches wrapped in colorful napkins. They sat side by side, enjoying the simple pleasure of sharing a meal outdoors. The park's beauty and sounds provided the perfect backdrop for their meal. After their meal, Amanda noticed Logan's fatigue showing in his drooping eyelids. "Ready to head home, buddy?" she asked with a smile. Logan nodded in agreement, his eyes reflecting contentment and a hint of sleepy satisfaction. Together, they gathered their belongings and embarked on the journey back home, their hearts full of new memories from their delightful day at the park. On the way home, Amanda decided to stop at the grocery store briefly. "We need to pick up a few things for dinner," she said to Logan as she pulled into the parking lot. He nodded, though his earlier excitement had clearly waned, and he rubbed his eyes sleepily. Conveniently, there was a supermarket just a couple of minutes from their home. In the store, Amanda grabbed fresh vegetables, bread, and Logan's favorite snacks. He clung to the cart with one hand with his toy car in the other. The bright lights and bustling atmosphere seemed to energize him for a moment, but as they approached the checkout line, he yawned widely. With their groceries bagged and loaded into the car, Amanda buckled Logan into his car seat. She could see his eyelids growing heavier. "You did great, buddy," she said, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "We're almost home." As they drove home, the rhythmic hum of the car engine and the gentle sway of the ride lulled Logan to sleep almost instantly. Amanda glanced in the rearview mirror and smiled at his peaceful face. His small features were relaxed, his mouth slightly open, and his toy car still clutched tightly in his hand. The sight filled her with a deep sense of love and contentment. The early afternoon sunlight filtered through the trees lining the road, casting a warm glow inside the car. The quiet drive home was a stark contrast to their lively day at the park, and she felt a profound gratitude for these simple, beautiful moments with her son. When they arrived home, Amanda carefully lifted Logan from his car seat, trying not to wake him. He stirred slightly but remained asleep, his head resting on her shoulder as she carried him inside. She gently laid him in his bed, pulling a light blanket over him. Watching him for a moment longer, she marveled at how peaceful he looked, his small chest rising and falling with each breath, a picture of innocence and tranquility. After giving Logan one last look, she smiled with contentment and walked out of his room. Amanda then returned to the car to unload the groceries, her heart still warmed by the memory of Logan's peaceful face. As she put away the groceries and prepared for the evening, she felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. It was the small, tender moments that truly mattered. These were the moments that would create lasting memories and make a big impact on their lives. As the house settled into a peaceful stillness, her thoughts wandered back to the laughter at the park and the unexpected warmth of Carrie's friendship. The day had felt like a turning point, a reminder that new beginnings could bring unexpected joy. With that thought lingering in her mind, Amanda grabbed her sketchpad and pencil and headed to the back patio. The late afternoon sun cast a warm glow over the backyard, creating a perfect setting for her to capture the beauty of her surroundings and relax her mind. Settling into a comfortable patio chair, she began to sketch the pond and fountain. Each stroke of her pencil felt like a meditation, grounding her in the moment while carrying her heart back to the joy of the day. Her pencil moved smoothly across the paper, capturing the ripples in the water, the play of light on the fountain's spray, and the delicate details of the surrounding foliage. She paused, marveling at nature's serenity, her heart full of gratitude. Content with her first drawing, Amanda turned to a new page and began sketching Logan at the park. She carefully recreated the joy on his face as he went down the slide, his arms raised in delight and his hair tousled by the breeze. Each stroke of her pencil conveyed her deep love for her son, and she couldn't help but smile as she recalled his laughter and energy. Amanda proceeded to a new page in her sketchpad, her pencil poised to capture the essence of Carrie and her daughter. Reflecting on their warm interaction, she delicately traced the lines that conveyed the bond between mother and child, the tenderness in Carrie's embrace, and the resilience in her daughter's tear-stained face. Each stroke of her pencil seemed to deepen the connection she felt with this newfound friend and the appreciation for the kindness she had shown her. As she completed the sketch, she couldn't help but smile, feeling grateful for the unexpected warmth and companionship she had found. After finishing her drawings, Amanda stretched her arms above her head, stood up from the chair, and went inside to check on Logan. He was stirring from his nap, rubbing his eyes and yawning. "Hey there, sleepyhead," she greeted him with a soft smile. He returned the grin, still drowsy. They chatted for a few minutes about their park adventures and the excitement they'd shared. They moved to the kitchen to prepare dinner together. Amanda put Logan in charge of rinsing the vegetables while she focused on chopping them. They worked as a team, and soon the delicious aroma of their meal filled the house. After dinner, they cleared the table and decided to play a board game. Laughter and playful banter filled the living room as they enjoyed their time together. When bedtime arrived, they retreated to his room, cozying up on his bed with a book. Her voice was a gentle lullaby as she read, and Logan nestled closer, captivated by the tale. As the story concluded, she carefully tucked him into bed, ensuring he was snug and warm beneath the covers. "I love you, Mom," Logan whispered, his eyes already closing. "I love you too, sweetheart," Amanda replied, kissing his forehead. She watched him for a moment, her heart full of love and contentment, before quietly leaving his room. Back in her own room, Amanda took a moment to revisit her sketches, each stroke of her pencil a testament to the meaningful moments she had experienced that day. The tranquil beauty of the pond and fountain, the infectious joy on Logan's face as he played at the park, and the warmth of the connection she had felt with Carrie and her daughter, all captured in graphite on paper. As she admired her sketches, Amanda's phone buzzed with a message from Carrie, expressing how nice it was to meet her. A smile spread across Amanda's face as she quickly typed out a reply, reciprocating the sentiment and expressing her gratitude for the budding friendship. As she looked over her drawings and exchanged messages, Amanda felt a deep gratitude for the joys of the day. The laughter, the kindness, and the small connections reminded her of how beautiful life's quiet moments could be. As she slid into bed, a wave of peace enveloped her, grateful for the beauty of life's quiet moments and the promise of new beginnings. As she closed her eyes, she carried with her the warmth of the day's memories, knowing that tomorrow held the potential for even more moments to cherish. Chapter 3. Stormy Reflections. It has been said, the only way to take sorrow out of death is to take love out of life. I've found the pain of loss is a constant presence, unyielding and persistent. It feels like a blade lodged in your side, a weight that never fades. Yet some days, that pain twists like a dagger, bringing you to your knees and leaving a void. In those moments, you wonder if the love that brought such joy was worth the ache it leaves behind. But deep down, you know it is. Crack! Amanda jolted awake at a thunderclap so loud it seemed to shake the entire house. Sitting up in bed, her heart pounded in her chest, remnants of restless sleep enveloping her like a shroud. The windows rattled with the force of the storm, and she barely had time to collect herself before she heard Logan's frightened cries from his bedroom. "Mommy!" Logan's voice was shrill with fear, cutting through the heavy silence that followed the thunder. Amanda quickly threw off her covers and rushed to Logan's room. Upon entering, she hesitated, momentarily disoriented by the unfamiliar layout of their new home. After regaining her bearings, she found him sitting up in bed, tears streaming down his cheeks and his small body trembling. She scooped him up into her arms, feeling his little heart hammering against her own chest. "It's okay, sweetheart," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the storm. Rocking him gently, she added, "The thunder is just loud, it can't hurt you." Logan clung to her, burying his face in her shoulder. "It was so loud, Mommy. Are we okay?" "Yes, everything is fine," Amanda reassured him, although her own nerves were still frayed. "It startled me too. Don't worry, it will pass soon, and we'll stay safe inside." Logan looked up at her, his big blue eyes filled with concern. "Will Daddy come to keep us safe in our new house?" Amanda's breath caught at Logan's innocent question, piercing her heart. She swallowed hard, willing her voice to stay steady. "No, honey," she managed, her voice cracking slightly. "Daddy isn't coming to live with us. Remember, Daddy is gone. He's in heaven now." Logan's eyes filled with confusion and sadness. "But I miss him, Mommy." A pang of sorrow cut through her. She tried to be strong for him, but his words pierced her defenses. At first, she fought to hold back her tears, but then she felt it was important for him to see her pain. It was okay for him to see that sadness was a natural feeling when he missed his dad. "I miss him too, Logan," she said, her voice trembling. "It's okay to be sad and to miss Daddy. I miss him every day." Logan reached up and wiped away one of her tears with surprising tenderness. "Don't cry, Mommy, I love you." She pulled him close, her embrace trembling as she whispered, "Thank you, Logan. I love you too, so much." They stayed like that for a while, Amanda holding Logan close, her fingers gently running through his hair until he finally relaxed. She marveled at how small and vulnerable he felt in her arms, a stark reminder of the immense responsibility she bore as his mother. The room was dimly lit by the soft glow of his nightlight, casting gentle shadows that danced on the walls. The storm outside seemed to have calmed slightly, but the occasional rumble of thunder still echoed in the distance. Amanda rocked Logan gently, humming a lullaby she used to sing when he was a baby. As she sang, she felt a mixture of heartache and solace, heartache from the memories of singing the same lullaby with Daniel by her side, and solace from the comfort it brought Logan now. His breathing grew more even, and the tension left his tiny body as he surrendered to sleep. Carefully, she shifted his weight, making sure not to wake him. She laid him back down in his bed, tucking the blankets snugly around him. For a moment, she just watched him sleep, his innocent face so peaceful, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside her. She bent down and kissed his forehead, whispering, "I love you, Logan." Amanda slipped out of his room, easing the door shut behind her. She padded down the hallway, her footsteps barely making a sound on the hardwood floor. As she passed by the living room, she glanced at the framed family photo on the mantel, capturing a moment with Daniel, Logan, and herself, all smiling together, Daniel's joyful smile forever frozen in time. She picked up the frame and gently touched Daniel's face. A fresh wave of sorrow washed over her. She fell to her knees and let the tears flow. How could she keep going without him? Would she be enough for Logan without Daniel by their side? The weight of the moment pressed down on her, leaving her emotionally exhausted. After what felt like hours, her sobs tapered off, leaving an aching silence in their place. The house settled into an eerie stillness, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards and the rhythmic patter of rain on the windows. Wiping her damp cheeks with the back of her hand, Amanda drew a shaky breath. Had moving here been a mistake? She gently replaced the frame and shuffled toward the kitchen, hoping a small, familiar act might help anchor her. The soft patter of rain against the windows followed Amanda as she walked, its rhythm both soothing and relentless. a reflection of the ache in her heart. She poured a glass of water, letting its coolness briefly soothe her pain. She took a few sips, attempting to steady her breath and quiet her racing thoughts as she sat in the dark. The storm outside seemed to be a reflection of the storm within her. She stared out the window, watching the rain slide down the glass in rivulets, merging and separating, much like her thoughts and emotions. She thought of Daniel, of the life they had shared, and of the future they had dreamed of together. The weight of his absence was a constant presence, a shadow that darkened even her brightest days. Amanda set the glass down and left the kitchen, walking back to her bedroom as the solitude of the house seemed to press in on her. Stepping into her room, the emptiness of the space struck her deeply. It was now her room, not theirs. Even though Daniel had never lived here, his absence pervaded every corner, rendering the room a hollow shell. She sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers tracing the patterns on the quilt. Suddenly, she let out a groan of sorrow, and tears began to stream down her cheeks, a floodgate opened by the weight of her anguish. She had believed she was allowing herself to grieve earlier, but now tears came that she hadn't even realized she was suppressing until this moment. In the quiet darkness of her room, she finally embraced the full force of her grief. Clutching her pillow tightly, she buried her face into it and sobbed, the muffled sound of her cries blending with the distant rumble of thunder. Images of the accident surfaced, the blinding light, the sudden impact, her own scream. Amanda's chest tightened, each breath feeling like a sharp stab against her ribs. Her hands trembled as if the memory had physically reached through time to grip her. The vividness of it left her breathless, her pulse pounding in her ears with raw intensity. The pain of losing Daniel was a constant ache, but some days, like today, it was as raw and fresh as the day it happened. Amanda thought about how she had hoped the move to Bluffton would bring some measure of healing, a fresh start for her and Logan. But tonight, the pain was just as intense, the wounds just as deep. She listened to the rain, its rhythm both soothing and haunting. She tried to focus on the sound, hoping it would calm her, but it only amplified her sense of loss. She reflected on Daniel and the life they had shared. Their love had been strong, their bond unbreakable, or so she had thought. The accident had shattered it all, leaving her to pick up the pieces alone. Amanda's tears slowed, but the ache lingered while she stared at the ceiling. As she listened to the rain, she reminded herself that she had to keep going, for Logan's sake. She had to find a way to navigate this new reality, even though it felt impossible. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Thoughts of Logan, sleeping peacefully in the next room, brought her a sense of comfort amidst the turmoil. He was her light, her reason to keep moving forward. She closed her eyes, longing for stillness, but sleep eluded her as grief's silent embrace held her. Outside, the storm lingered, and the light of morning fought to break through, casting faint, shifting patterns on the curtains. She watched as the shadows danced on the walls, a silent reminder of time slipping away. When her alarm finally pierced the stillness, signaling the start of a new day, Amanda found herself unprepared to face it. She lay there, cocooned in the warmth of her blankets, unwilling to confront the reality waiting beyond her bedroom door. The heaviness in her chest pressed down on her, a burden she could not shake. The storm clouds remained, though the morning light grew stronger, its fragmented beams spilling into the room. Amanda stayed motionless, tethered to the bed by the invisible chains of her sorrow. She felt paralyzed, her strength swallowed by the ache in her chest. Eventually, Logan woke up and found her in bed. He climbed under the covers with her, his presence both comforting and bittersweet. He was so much like Daniel, his black hair, his blue eyes, the way he smiled. Having a piece of Daniel still with her and Logan felt like a precious gift, yet it also underscored the depth of all she had lost. "Mommy, are you okay?" Logan's voice was soft and full of concern, her eyes filled with tears again. She pulled Logan close, his little head resting against her cheek. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just feeling a bit sad today." Logan reached up and wiped her tears with the blanket. "Don't be sad, Mommy. I love you so much." She smiled through her tears. "I love you too, Logan. So much." They lay there for a while, talking softly. Logan's innocent chatter was a balm to Amanda's aching heart, his simple questions and observations a temporary distraction from her sorrow. He spoke about his dreams, his favorite toys, and what he wanted to do that day, his little voice full of curiosity and life. She listened, nodding and responding gently, finding comfort in his presence. Eventually, Logan asked if they could have breakfast. Amanda managed a small smile and agreed, grateful for the distraction of a morning routine. They made their way to the kitchen, where she poured cold cereal into 2 bowls. They sat together at the table, the quiet companionship soothing in its familiarity. Though the absence of one more person weighed on her broken heart, there should be 3 of them sitting around the table together. The rain continued to slide down the windows, casting a gray hue over the room. As Amanda watched the raindrops race each other down the glass, she couldn't help but feel a deep sense of melancholy. The gloomy day outside seemed to mirror her inner turmoil, each drop a reminder of the tears she had shed. The simple act of eating breakfast, something that had brought her joy just yesterday, now served as a painful reminder of the life she once had and the future that would never be. The garden outside, the swing set she had hoped Daniel would help build, even the blooming flowers, all of it seemed to taunt her with what could have been. Logan's cheerful chatter pulled her from the shadows of her thoughts, his energy a welcome reprieve. "Mommy, look at that big puddle!" he exclaimed, pointing out the window. Amanda followed his gaze and saw the backyard with the large pond, its fountain sending ripples across the water despite the rain. Just in front of the pond, a large puddle was forming between the pond and their back window. "It is big," she replied, forcing herself to focus on the present. Logan's carefree innocence was a reminder of the life that continued around her, a fragile light in the darkness of her grief. She often found herself trying to be strong for Logan, but more often than not, it was Logan who gave her the strength to keep going. He was her anchor, the reason she faced each day, even when the weight of her sorrow threatened to consume her. As they finished their breakfast, Amanda looked at Logan, her gaze filled with longing as she tried to gauge his emotional state. She wanted so badly to understand what he was feeling, to peer into his little heart and know how he was processing the loss. Gently, she asked, "Logan, how do you feel about Daddy not being here?" Logan's eyes widened as he clutched his favorite toy. "I miss when Daddy played cars with me," he said softly, his voice wavering. Amanda's heart ached at his words, but she held him close, whispering, "I miss him too, sweetheart. So much." As she held him, she found herself wondering how much Logan truly understood. At his young age, could he grasp the permanence of Daniel's absence? She knew he missed the games, the laughter, and the warmth of his father's presence. But did he feel the same hollow ache she did? Or was his grief something simpler, more immediate? She envied his ability to express his feelings so openly, unburdened by the layers of complexity that weighed on her. After breakfast, they spent a slow morning together. Logan's usually cheerful demeanor was subdued, reflecting Amanda's somber mood. She felt guilty that her sadness was affecting him. Despite her efforts to maintain a facade of normalcy, the enormity of her loss loomed like a storm cloud, casting a shadow over everything they did together. Each shared moment felt tinged with an unspoken sorrow, a reminder of the absence that loomed large in their lives. As they lingered over their morning activities, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling of helplessness that settled in her chest. She wished she could shield Logan from the pain she was experiencing, but she knew it was impossible. All she could do was be there for him, even as she struggled to navigate her own emotions. Amanda recognized that it would be best to get moving to help lift herself out of the heavy fog of sorrow. Pulling out her phone, she began searching for nearby art studios. The name Wine and Design caught her eye, but its association with wine made her uncertain if it was suitable for children's activities. Despite her hesitation, she was intrigued by the possibility of finding an art studio that offered classes for kids. Amanda decided to inquire further, sending a text to Carrie to see if she had any insight on the studio's offerings. "Hey Carrie, have you heard of Wine and Design? It looks like they offer kids art classes, but the name makes me a bit unsure. Is it a good place for Logan?" While waiting for Carrie's response, Amanda scrolled through the studio's website, intrigued by the vibrant paintings and cheerful atmosphere depicted in the photos. After a few moments, her response came in. "Yes, Wine and Design is perfect for kids. They have fantastic art classes, and it's not just for adults. I wish Emma and I could join you, but I had to pick up an extra shift at work. I think you and Logan will love it." Carrie's reassurance put Amanda at ease, making her feel more certain about her decision. She replied with gratitude, "Thanks, Carrie. We'll check it out. We'll plan on getting together another time." Amanda dialed the number for the art studio and arranged an appointment for later that afternoon. As she hung up, Logan's eyes sparkled and he clapped his hands together. "Yay, an art studio!" he squealed, bouncing on his toes. Amanda couldn't help but smile at Logan's excitement, his contagious enthusiasm lifting her spirits despite the weight of their recent experiences. His joy sparked a flicker of gratitude in her heart, a reminder of the simple moments that could still bring light into their lives. After getting dressed, Amanda in a cozy sweater and jeans, and Logan in his favorite long-sleeve dinosaur shirt and overalls, they set off. The rain poured heavily during the 15-minute drive, the windshield wipers working overtime to keep the road visible. When they arrived, Amanda opened her umbrella, shielding him from the downpour as they hurried toward the entrance. Logan, however, couldn't resist stomping in every shallow puddle along the way, giggling with delight. Once inside, the warm, bright atmosphere enveloped them, carrying the faint scent of acrylic paint and wood. The soft murmur of brushes against canvas mixed with cheerful chatter, a stark contrast to the storm outside. A staff member greeted them with a wide smile. "Hi there! Welcome to Wine and Design. How can I assist you today?" the staff member asked cheerfully. "Hi," Amanda smiled. "I scheduled an open canvas session. It's my first time here, and I thought I'd just get a feel for the studio today." "Of course. We have everything ready for you. Follow me, and I'll show you to your station." The staff member gestured toward a cozy corner of the studio. "Thank you so much." Amanda's voice carried her gratitude as they followed. The staff member led them to an open studio area filled with the gentle hum of creativity. She set them up at an easel with a single canvas, paints, and brushes neatly arranged. "Okay, you've got your canvas, paints, and brushes here, ready to go. Is there anything else that you need?" "No, everything looks great," Amanda said appreciatively. "Thank you so much. Of course. Feel free to ask if you need anything else. Enjoy your time painting," replied the staff member with a warm smile. Amanda took a moment to familiarize herself with their surroundings as the staff member walked away. Then, turning to Logan, she asked, "Okay, Logan, what would you like to paint today?" Logan's eyes lit up with excitement. "A rainbow on a rainy day," he exclaimed. "I think a rainbow is just what we need on a day like today," Amanda agreed with a smile. "Let me help you get started." Amanda knew this would be a big project for someone Logan's age, so she carefully used a pencil to sketch out the layout of the rainbow on the canvas, and a few other details. As she worked on the skeleton of the drawing, she glanced over at him. "What do you think, buddy? Is this how you want it?" she asked, her pencil poised over the canvas. Logan nodded eagerly. "Yeah, Mommy, it's going to be so good," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Here are the paints." Amanda showed him the array of colors. "What do you want to start with?" "Red on top." Logan's face turned serious, which brought a smile to Amanda's lips. He eagerly picked up his paintbrush and began to fill in the colors, his strokes confident and determined. As Amanda mixed colors for Logan and watched him paint, she marveled at his natural talent, especially for someone so young. It reminded her of her own love for art, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride, knowing that he likely inherited this trait from her. But as she admired him, thoughts of Daniel quietly surfaced, drawing her into memories of him as she observed his careful strokes and the pure joy he took in crafting something beautiful. Logan's kindness and good nature were traits she knew he had inherited from his father, traits that shone through even in moments like these. These thoughts caused Amanda's mind to drift back to a day from years ago, a memory she hadn't revisited in a long time. In her mind's eye, she was transported to a rainy afternoon much like today, when she and Daniel were driving down a familiar road. They came upon a car pulled off to the side, its hazard lights flashing against the gray curtain of rain. Daniel, ever the embodiment of kindness, suggested they stop to make sure everything was all right. "Are you sure, Daniel? We're already running late for our dinner date," Amanda reminded him. But Daniel, with his unwavering compassion, reassured her that it would only take a moment. "I'll be right back, love. Just a quick check-in." "A quick check-in? We'll see about that," she teased. "I know, but someone might need our help. I'll be quick," he reassured her, his tone gentle yet resolute. Reluctantly, Amanda nodded, acknowledging his unwavering compassion. "Okay, but please be careful," she urged as he stepped out into the downpour. "Hey there, having some car trouble?" Daniel's voice carried through the rain, his tone warm and friendly as he shut the car door. Daniel approached the frustrated driver, leaving Amanda to watch from the shelter of the car's interior, the windshield streaked with raindrops. She observed as Daniel engaged the man in conversation, offering not just his assistance but his empathy, raindrops glistening on his coat. The man looked visibly relieved at the offer of help. Together, they retrieved tools from Amanda and Daniel's trunk, removed the spare from the man's car, and replaced the flat tire. The exchange was marked by camaraderie and shared laughter amidst the downpour. Despite her initial frustration at the delay, Amanda couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with love for Daniel's innate kindness, a trait that transcended circumstances and touched the lives of everyone he encountered. As they finished up, exchanging handshakes and heartfelt farewells, Daniel returned to the car, drenched but content. Amanda, anticipating his arrival, draped a blanket over his seat, offering a silent gesture of warmth and comfort. Their eyes met, sharing a moment of laughter and connection amidst the rain-soaked serenity. "You're soaked, Daniel," Amanda remarked with a chuckle as he settled into the driver's seat. Daniel flashed her a grin, shaking his head. "Just a bit of rain, love. Nothing we can't handle." "You know, you didn't have to do this, Daniel," Amanda said, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. Daniel looked over, rainwater streaming down his face, his grin infectious. "Couldn't just leave the guy stranded in the rain, could I? Plus, we've got plenty of time, and it turned out to be an adventure." As the rain continued to patter against the windshield, Amanda couldn't help but be curious about Daniel's newfound friend. "So, who was that man? What's his life story?" she inquired, her gaze soft as she watched Daniel wring out his drenched sleeve. Daniel leaned back in his seat, a smile playing on his lips despite the dampness clinging to his clothes. "Oh, he's on his way to the hospital to meet up with his wife. She's about to have a baby, and he got a flat tire on the way," he explained, his voice laced with empathy. Amanda's heart swelled with admiration for her husband's kindness. "I'm so glad you could help him," she breathed, her voice tinged with admiration as her fingers traced absent patterns on the fogged-up window. "It's moments like these that make me realize just how lucky I am to have you, Daniel." Daniel reached over to squeeze her hand, his touch wet but reassuring. "I'm glad we could help him. We're a team, love," he said softly, his eyes reflecting the depth of his love and devotion. "And as long as we're together, there's nothing we can't handle." In that moment, Amanda couldn't help but reflect on the depth of her love for Daniel and the hope she held for their future together. She remembered thinking at that time how much she hoped their future child would inherit Daniel's kindness and compassion, qualities that had endeared him to so many. Amanda realized this was one of the things she missed most about Daniel, his unwavering belief that kindness could change the world, one small act at a time. Now, as she glanced over at Logan, who was fully engrossed in his painting, she felt a surge of gratitude for the ways in which he resembled his father. Despite the passage of time and the pain of loss, she found solace in the enduring presence of Daniel's spirit, alive and well in their son. Logan's kindness, talent, and gentle spirit echoed those of his father, and though the thought brought both comfort and sorrow, Amanda couldn't help but feel grateful to have Logan as a living reminder of Daniel's legacy. Around this moment, Amanda caught a glimpse of Logan's growing frustration reflected in the subtle furrow of his brow and the hesitant pauses in his brushstrokes. As Logan frowned at his painting, she recognized the familiar pang of self-doubt. It mirrored her own fear that the pieces of her life might never fit together again. Instinctively attuned to her son's moods, she sensed his discouragement taking shape. Drawing closer, she gently inquired, "What's on your mind, Logan?" Logan's response came with a hint of disappointment. "It's not right, Mommy," he admitted, frustration tightening his eyebrows together as he glanced at the canvas. Moving her seat closer beside him, Amanda studied the painting with a tender gaze, her mind already formulating a solution. "Let's see what we can do." Her voice was soft and reassuring. "Maybe we can add a little something to make it just right." Together, they leaned in close to the canvas, their heads almost touching as they collaborated on the painting. With their hands intertwined around the paintbrush, they shared creativity, each stroke a reflection of their combined efforts. As they added a ray of light piercing through the clouds, the scene came alive with a renewed sense of hope and possibility. Amanda also lent her expertise, tidying up a few areas of the painting that needed attention, her skilled hand adding the finishing touches to their masterpiece. The painting became a profound metaphor for Amanda's journey through grief, a canvas where darkness and light intertwined, reflecting the complexities of her emotions. As she stood beside Logan, observing their creation, she saw parallels between the strokes of paint and the ebbs and flows of her life. Today, however, the darkness seemed overwhelming, pressing heavily on her heart. Yet even amid the shadow, Amanda clung to the flicker of hope, reminding herself that in the bleakest moments, light always had the potential to break through. As she gazed at the canvas, her mind wandered to tomorrow, to the possibility of a new day dawning. She whispered words of encouragement to herself, a silent mantra to focus on the light, even when surrounded by darkness. Though today may seem clouded by sorrow, Amanda held on to the belief that tomorrow's sky might be painted with hues of new possibilities and healing. As they put the final touches on the painting, Amanda couldn't help but feel a twinge of embarrassment. She hadn't intended to add so much to it, But Logan's beaming smile told her that he was proud of their collaborative masterpiece, and that was all that truly mattered. "Look, Mommy, we did it," Logan said, his face glowing with excitement. Amanda smiled, her heart lifting at his pride. "Wow, you did an amazing job," the staff member exclaimed, approaching with a warm smile. Amanda hesitated for a moment, feeling a bit sheepish about her impromptu contributions. "Thank you," she replied, her cheeks flushing slightly. "I actually have a background in art, so I couldn't resist." The staff member nodded appreciatively. "Well, it certainly shows you have a real talent." As they carefully packed up the painting, Amanda couldn't help but smile at Logan's enthusiasm. "So, buddy, what do you think? Where should we hang our painting when we get home?" she asked, her voice laced with playful anticipation. Logan's eyes lit up with excitement. "In my room, Mommy. Above my bed, so I can see it when I sleep," he exclaimed, bouncing on his toes with excitement. Amanda chuckled at his eagerness. "That sounds like the perfect spot," she agreed, ruffling her fingers through his hair. They made their way back to the car, the rain having slowed to a light sprinkle. Logan chattered excitedly about their painting adventure and all the colors he had used. Amanda listened with a smile, her heart feeling not quite as heavy as it had the rest of the day. Once they were back on the road, Logan piped up from the back seat. "Mommy, can we eat a hamburger for dinner, please?" he pleaded, his eyes wide with anticipation. Amanda glanced at him in the rearview mirror, unable to resist his infectious enthusiasm. "Hamburgers it is," she declared with a grin. They stopped at Chow Daddy's, a local burger joint famous for its generous portions and variety of tasty options. Although the restaurant was usually a sit-down spot, Amanda wasn't in the mood to be around other people. So, she opted for a to-go order and took the food home with them. Back at home, they spread out their burgers and fries on the kitchen table, the aroma of grilled meat filling the air. "Mom, these burgers look so yummy," Logan exclaimed, his eyes lighting up with excitement as he took in the spread. "They sure do, buddy. I'm glad you're excited," Amanda replied with a smile, feeling a small ray of warmth spread through her at his enthusiasm. They ate together with gusto, savoring each bite of the juicy burgers and crispy fries. Despite the somber undertone of the day, their conversation flowed easily, punctuated by laughter and shared stories. "You know, Logan, I'm really glad we got this food today." Amanda took another bite, savoring this simple comfort. "It was nice to not have to worry about dinner after having such an emotional day." "Yeah, me too, Mom. This is really fun." Logan's approval evident as he eagerly devoured his meal. With each bite, Amanda felt a sense of gratitude wash over her, clinging to these simple moments of joy shared with her son amid the day's sadness. Today had been painful, almost crippling, but her love for Logan could cause light to pierce through even the darkest cloud. After dinner, they got ready for bed. Amanda helped Logan change into his pajamas, their soft fabric contrasting the day's rough emotional texture. "Mommy, can we read the Rainbow Book?" Logan asked, his eyes heavy with sleep but full of longing. "Of course, sweetheart," Amanda replied, pulling the familiar book from the shelf. They snuggled up in Logan's bed, and she began to read, her voice soothing and steady. His eyes slowly closed, his breathing deepening into the steady rhythm of sleep. Amanda kissed his forehead and quietly left his room, closing the door softly behind her. She walked to her own room and picked up the painting they had created together. The rainbow, with dark clouds looming above and rays of light piercing through, brought her back to her earlier reflections about it being a metaphor for her life. The vibrant colors stood in stark contrast to the heaviness she felt inside. Tears welled up in her eyes as she traced the brushstrokes, memories of Daniel flooding her mind. They had been so perfect for each other, complementing each other in every way. It was as if they had become one, and now a part of her was missing, leaving a deep void in her heart that could never be filled. The depth of their connection made his absence that much more painful. Feeling a wave of loneliness wash over her, Amanda sat on her bed, clutching the painting to her chest. She pulled out her phone and sent Carrie a text. "Thank you so much for suggesting wine and design," Amanda typed, her fingers lingering on the screen as she fought back a fresh wave of emotion. "Logan and I had a really good time today." She hoped talking to Carrie might help alleviate the ache in her heart, even if only a little. Carrie's reply was almost immediate. "I'm glad to hear that." Shortly after, another text came through. "Amanda, how are you feeling today?" The question felt surprisingly intuitive, as if Carrie could somehow sense the emotions Amanda was carrying in that moment. Amanda paused, her fingers hesitating over the screen. Should she share how tough today had been, or keep her emotions hidden? After a deep breath, she took a leap of faith and confided, It's been a really tough day, Carrie. I miss Daniel so much. Carrie's concern came through in her next message. I'm so sorry, Amanda. I can't imagine how tough it must be. Do you want to meet up tomorrow? We can talk. Amanda felt a flicker of relief at the suggestion. Thank you, Carrie. I'd really like that. Let me reach out to my Aunt Margaret and see if she's available tomorrow. This might be a good time to take her up on her offer to watch Logan. Perfect! Let me know. Amanda could almost hear Carrie's steady, reassuring tone. Amanda reached out to Margaret, who was thrilled to spend the day with Logan. This brought a bright spot to her somber evening. Feeling relieved, she messaged Carrie again. Okay, Aunt Margaret is available all day and excited to see Logan. Where should we meet? Carrie suggested, how about Victoria Bluff Heritage Preserve? It's beautiful there and has some really nice trails for walking or running. That sounds perfect, Amanda replied gratefully. Thanks again, Carrie. This is just what I need. Are you a runner? I'd love to get a run in. I am a runner, Carrie confirmed. Why don't we plan on getting in a good run, and then we can chat during our cool down? That sounds perfect. Does 10 in the morning work for you? Amanda proposed. Yes, that works great for me, Carrie replied. Thanks again, Carrie, Amanda said sincerely. Of course, you've been on my mind, and I felt like we should get together, Carrie replied warmly. You are heaven sent, Carrie. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Amanda added appreciatively. Her smile softened as she reread Carrie's messages, anticipating their time together the following day. In a world that often felt hollow without Daniel, Carrie's warmth was a reminder that Amanda didn't have to face her grief alone. Yet, as the weight of the day pressed down on her, another tear welled in her eye, which she slowly brushed away with a deep, calming breath. Setting the painting down with care, she eased herself into bed, feeling a faint glimmer of light emerge from the promise of support awaiting her tomorrow. That night, Amanda lay in bed, her thoughts swirling with a range of emotions. Anxiety twisted her stomach at the prospect of confiding in Carrie, yet a glimmer of optimism remained, acknowledging this could be a turning point. Her gaze returned to their painting. The light breaking through storm clouds and the vibrant rainbow amid the darkness stood as quiet reminders. Grief and hope could coexist, like sunlight piercing the rain. As she closed her eyes, Amanda felt a faint flicker of strength within her, the promise that, even in the darkest storms, light could always find its way through.